She hasn't finished it yet.
Oh.
There's still some Bhashya.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
And the first verse. She's still finishing it, she said. So I'm just saying. Yeah.
so that looks, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vaivasvataya Mrityave Brahma Vidyacharyaya Nachiketa Secha Anyachreyo'nyadutaiva preyaha
Anyachreyo anyadutaiva preyaha.
Little tip on the chanting. Anyachreyo, even though it is anyachreyaha, anyat utaiva preyaha. When we chant it together, sandhis are respected. So, we don't say anyachreyaha separately. So, together. Anyachreyo'nyadutaiva preyaha
Anyachreyo anyadutaiva preyaha.
I don't want to hear the second A. Anyachreyo'nyadutaiva preyaha
Anyachreyo'nyadutaiva preyaha.
Got it. That's it. Yeah. Te ubhe nanarthe purusham sinitaha. Te ubhe nanarthe purusham sinitaha. Tayoshreya adadanasya sadhu bhavati. Tayoshreya adadanasya sadhu bhavati. Hiyate arthadya upreyo vrinite. Hiyate arthadya upreyo vrinite. Yeah. Arthadya upreyo vrinite. That's how it is. So, this is what we are seeing. Let us, we saw that ataha shreyah preyah prayojana kartavyataya tabhyam baddhah iti uchyate sarvah purushah. So, all the people are baddhah, bound and tied up in knots. Why? Because if you don't elect one, then you are by default choosing the other one. Right? Yeah, you cannot say, I am a Dahali sitter. Dahali sitter. What is a Dahali sitter? Fence sitter. Yeah. You cannot say, I am going to sit on the fence. I want to be permanently open. Shreyas, this side of the compound. Preyas, that side of the compound. Me, on the compound. Sitting on the fence. Sometimes I look this side, sometimes I look that side. I look at the people following prayers, I look at the people following Shreyas, and I say, I don't want to be part of either of them. Why only two choices? Why not the third choice? This is another choice. I'm going to sit permanently on the fence. This is not a choice. Yama says. Because even in not choosing, in the protest of not choosing, you are already chosen prayers. Because not choosing is either out of resistance or protest or fear. Otherwise, why will you not choose? Because really, there's only one thing available. All right, we give a little extra, what should I say, long leash, and say, all right, there is such a shadow pursuit called prayas, which is riding on the light of Shreyas, on the coattails of Shreyas, it is riding, and not only that, it takes over. Like the Muhammad, was taken over by the camel who occupied the tent because it was cold. In stages, it occupied the tent and threw him out. So Shreyas, as though it is thrown out by most people who see only prayers, and the immediacy of prayers attracts and grabs. And if you don't get attracted to that, that means you are choosing prayers, Shreyas. If you are not choosing Shreyas, by default you are choosing prayers even if you are sitting on the fence. There's no such thing as not. And this is very clear. Because why is the person sitting on the fence? That is why you have to ask. Why are you sitting here? Certainly the fence is not comfortable. Especially in other countries, the fence is full of barbed wire and all these things. Yeah. Fence means barbed wire, and in certain high security, like prisons and all, they put pieces of glass on the compound. And certainly you're not sitting here for comfort. You are visibly uncomfortable. So why are you sitting here? Because this is what the whole thing is. Because everybody rebels. Why only two choices? Why not I bring in the third choice with my Mahamati, with my great brain. With my great brain I'll bring in the third choice, which is I am totally open. I don't need to pursue the self. It is the self. And I don't need to pursue the non-self. No Atma, no Anatma. And I am just sitting right in the center of Atma and Anatma. How is this possible? Who is sitting? Atma. Well, there you go. Atma behaving like Anatma is sitting right in the middle of Atma and Anatma. There you go. So really speaking, there is only two choices, because there is no default choice which is gained by non-choosing. You cannot be in the middle. Certain things are either or, and we have to come to terms with that. No matter how rebellious the person is, certain things like pregnancy, either or. You cannot say one is 70% pregnant. Yeah. It's either or. You cannot say, oh, what about the grey area? There is no grey area in certain areas. In certain choices, there are no grey areas. You cannot craft a third choice. No grey area. What grey area? Either it is or it is not. Either you choose this or it is that. But why does it have to be made so harsh? I like to just this flowery openness. That is prayers. The one who looks, why is it prayers? Why is the fence sitter, booted by the Shruti automatically into the prayers camp? Why? Because when you are starting to look for more options, you are in prayers. Yes, that's what it is. Because I am not satisfied with just what is presented to me. I am still a seeker, searching and trying to find loopholes so that I can just go in some other direction than what is objectively presented. I'm looking for the grey area where I should be really looking for my own grey matter to use properly and make the correct choices. And so therefore Adi Shankara unequivocally rejects the two ideas here in this portion of the Bhashya. One, that there is a third choice. This we have explained in detail. I am not going to explain it again when we read the Bhashya. This you have seen in detail. How can there be a third choice? Just take certain conditions like pregnancy, if you really want to look at it, How can there be a third choice? There is not a third choice. Certain things are either or, this is how they are. This one is either or. And if you are looking for one more or, va, vikalpa, if you are looking, that means that you have chosen prayas, because prayas is the smorgasbord of options. We saw that. That means you have opted out. If you are looking for the third choice, you have opted out, not of both. That's just an illusion. You have opted out of Shreyas. Very simple. In Shreyas, the person who chooses Shreyas ceases looking for options. Instead, looks inward and inquires into the nature of the I and looks for that contentment which is promised as the, by the Shruti, as the fruit of this self-inquiry, self-discovery. That is where the person is focused on. But the prayers person, the rebel, is always looking for loopholes and further options. So in this portion of the Bhashya, Adi Shankara, the Bhashyakara, rejects the possibility that there is more than two options. And he also categorically rejects this other fellow. One is the fence sitter who wants neither, and who is the other fellow? Who wants both. We have to see all the logical possibilities. Either or, neither, both. Yeah. This is the four, possibilities from this continuum. Four possibilities, and then four possibilities emerged. What are the four possibilities? One chooses Shreyas, one chooses Prayas, one chooses neither, and then one chooses both. And neither fellow was, booted out of the third choice. There is no third choice. What about the one who is accommodative in a different way? Why do I have to leave one in order to gain the other? And this fellow says, why can't I be pregnant and not pregnant at the same time? This is the person this is the thinking. How is that possible? It's not possible. It is not possible to have Shreyas and Prayas at the same time. And if you say, I want to decorate my house with a few artifacts of Prayas, and then I also want Shreyas to come there, Shreyas will skip that house, will not visit. Period. Will not visit. And so, but why is Shreyas so harsh? Because Prayas is not a thing, is not a choice. So when you make the not thing into the thing, that which is really the thing goes away from purview. Yes, that's what happens. When Anatma becomes Atma, Atma says, all right. Atma shrugs the shoulder if it has any, and then it says, all right, I'll just sit here until you recognize me. I'll even accommodate you, the pursuer. I'll help you pursue whatever you want by shining the light on all your pursuits. But I'm not part of this. But why is it like that? Because ekena purushena, by one person, anushtiyamana ashakyatvat, because it is not possible to pursue both. You cannot chase after the shadow and then want the light. If you want the light, you have to go after the light and repudiate, discard the shadow. And in this exercise of choosing only one, there is self-growth. That is why this is stressed. And that is why the root verb, which, seventh conjugation, which happens to be the seventh conjugation, is used, which becomes vinakti, which, to separate, to sift, to look at these two options closely and then say, I'm not going in for this, I can only choose this. And from which is never used by itself, because the separation is, especially on the mental level, is very difficult. And so which is always used with another upasarga called we which. Yeah, meaning we are the ones who are doing the witching. Yeah, so the separation, we which. And we means specially, with effort, with specific, attention. And that's how the word viveka is formed. It's a masculine noun from vi plus which. You can just say vekaha. But why do you say vivekaha? It's a wake up call. That's why. Vivekaha. That's how to remember. See, Sanskrit is so easy. Vivekaha. We have to wake up. That's all. We have to wake up to the fact that there are only two options. In fact, there is only one, and I choose the correct one. And most of the angst in life is about, FOMO. What is FOMO?
Fear of missing out.
Fear of missing out. That's why one wants neither and one wants both. Those two, the two non-options, the fence sitter and the one who says, I want both. The one who says, I have one leg in each paksha, one leg in Shreyas, the other leg in Preyas. What will happen? One will be quartered. That person will be quartered. That's all it is. Dismembered. You cannot do that. Ashakyatvat. It's not possible to do that. And so therefore, the whole, the whole angst is on, if I choose this, I'll miss out on that. Yeah. That's why it's very important to understand what is this vivich, what is this viveka, what is this when the Shruti means vivinakti, dhiraha, what is this person? What does this inquiry, what does this separation involve? This separation involves seeing the spoof of there being two choices. That's really what it involves. In fact, there is no choice. Even though the word vivinakti chooses, separates what? Separates the non-existent choice from the only choice that is there. Separates the masquerading choice from that which is truly the choice. From the choiceless choice. This is what is vivinakti. So the people who don't know that one is real, the other is a projection, see two things in the place of one. And when there are two things, immediately FOMO comes. What is FOMO? Fear of missing out on one or the other. This is very much true in Western countries. So much. That's why people are permanently disabled from making choices. They want everything. Little bit of this, little bit of that. Why do I have to choose? No. Because what if I miss out on that? This is what is called, hopping. The person keeps hopping from choice to choice. And there is no commitment. That's how it is. The person is not committed to the self. How can one be committed to anything in life? Not goals, not pursuits, nothing. There is no commitment because there is fear of missing out. And why is there fear of missing out? Because the whole idea, especially in the West, is to keep on having and collecting experiences. One is an experience hunter, a shikari, really, a hunter. And you keep taking the bow and arrow, the yantras in life, and then keep hunting for experiences. Go for the kill and the thrill of the experiences and collect those experiences, either in the form of photographs, memories, and things that you bring, souvenirs from various holidays. All these things, collectibles. And this is what the whole thing is about, is that the goal in life is to keep collecting experiences. And the more experiences you have, the better you are. Why? Because there is only one life. This is the problem with the theology that says there is only one life. Make the most of it right now. Otherwise, you will not have a second chance. So if that's what it is, if there is no second chance, then whatever I want to do is right here, right now, ever. And then what? I keep looking for experiences because I, the experiencer, Karta Bhokta comes to the fore. That's all I know about myself. I am the experiencer, I am the doer. Why am I the doer? In order to experience. That's all. Nobody wants to do for the sake of doing. Even social work. Why do you do? Because I feel good here. Warm, glowy feeling. Yeah, that's all it is. That's all it is. Nobody does for the sake of anyone else. It's only for oneself that one becomes the doer. For the sake of oneself means what? For the sake of immediately turning into a bhokta. That's why do you work hard? So that I can have a holiday. Why do you have a killer week? So that I can have the weekend. Why do you work so hard the whole year? So I can have 2 weeks off. This is all it is, therefore. So why do you work hard all your life? So that I can retire early. Everyone wants to retire early. That's what it is. And people start dreaming of retirement at age 32. Yes, this is what happens. They keep wanting to retire. They have just, got their first job. That's what it is. What's your goal in life? To retire. This is what it is. To become, retire means permanent bhokta. This is all it is. So that why do you want to retire? So that I can do everything, all that I want, I can keep doing. But why are you doing? I'm not doing, I'm enjoying. Yeah, that's all it is. Doing for the sake of enjoyment. And so this being the trajectory, and the theology being that you have just one go at it, one shot, you better get it right. And so then, so many options, which one should I choose? Oh, I will, if I choose this, that will go away. If I choose that, this will go away. And I want everything. So I'm going to be a fence sitter, or I'm going to choose everything, and there's not enough life for choosing everything. I have to have priorities, and that creates angst. The stress of choice. This is what it is. But consider the Vaidika life, the Vedic life, where the climax is not in becoming a bhokta, or not on maxing out experiences, maxing out and ODing on experiences. That's not the purpose of life. The goal of life, whether you're talking of the first portion or the second portion, the goal of life is similar for both, is identical for both the portions. The goal is to discover the truth of oneself as the source of everything that I'm seeking. The source of all resources. The source of all, it's the place where all pursuits come and lay down their arms and say, that's it, we have reached whatever we wanted to. Where all desires come to a resting place. That self is the graveyard of karma, where all the desires rest in peace. Yes, they are just permanently buried, never going to come out and haunt you again. This is what it is. That's why the graveyard is always a nice place to go for walks. Nobody disturbs. Nobody says, why are you here? You know, even the city cannot say this is a private plot. No, it's a public place, anybody can walk. And so, it's a quiet place. And so this is the graveyard of karma, the burial place of all karma, and where all the karmas biodegrade very quickly and nothing is left. And this is the self, quiet, placid source of wholeness, contentment, fearlessness, and limitless joy, which is what I am seeking. That is why I am becoming a karta bhokta, because these are the things I am seeking. Where? Elsewhere, wherever it is not there, I am seeking that. This is the problem. And I am bound to seeking that. There is a certain bondage there and an addiction. So the Upanishad and the Veda, the whole Veda says, this is the goal in life. The Upanishad shines the light, the Upanishads shine the light on that goal and show the true, tested, ancient way of assimilating this understanding that you are non-separate from what you seek. That's the second portion of the Veda. The first portion of the Veda shows the way. What is the way? The way of life that is conducive to growing to such an extent that you embrace this goal and you see the truth of this goal. And what is the way of life? Yajna 1, Yajna 2, Yajna 3, Yajna 4, 5, 6. In fact, whatever you do it as a yajna. That's why yajna is translated as sacrifice. It's quite a good translation. So what is the way? The way is to see the choicelessness in everything that I do. By not focusing on the desire or desirables, but focusing on what needs to be done. So I align myself to what needs to be done, choiceless choice, rather than what I would like to do. And I align myself first with great protests and deliberately, and then the protests, there is no time to protest, one is too tired to protest. Instead of protesting, you just go to sleep, which is good. And then what? You wake up, udite juhoti. Oh, but that's udite juhoti means I have to perform this yajna at sunrise. Is there another choice? Yes. Anudite juhoti, before sunrise you can do. Veda is very, very easy. Yeah. Very easy going. Choices are there. Why do I have to do this? Who made the stupid rule that I have to get up at sunrise? Veda made the rule. Why? Because, chances are if you don't get up at sunrise, you will not get up at all. Yeah. You will be the opt-out, the one who opts out. But really there is no opting out. And if you opt out, what happens? Raga-dveshas create an instant colony in the mind. Like that some disease is there where the bacteria migrates to the brain and starts to proliferate. Some kind of infection of the brain. So like this, we don't want the raga-dveshas to proliferate the heart, the mind. And then therefore what? You keep busy doing what needs to be done. And so you become accountable, you become responsible, and the raga-dveshas, which are biting all over, release the teeth. Yeah. It's like this fellow came out after a swim in the river. And then various small fishes had attached themselves to various body parts. And he was in a quandary. If he goes inside so that he can release them, more will attach. And then if he comes out, they will all die attached like this, and he didn't want to kill them. This is how the whole jiva is. So all the desires have sunk their teeth into this fellow. And the only way to allow them to release is to just focus on what needs to be done. You don't even give the time of day to the desires because you don't have time to even say what is the time. That is how busy one is from morning to night. There is no spare time. And when there is spare time, like Amavasya, free day, there's not much things happening. Even that is spent in japa and upavasa. Amavasya means what? No moon. New moon is confusing because there is really no moon. Yeah, no moon. And on no moon day, you up the ante of what? Upavasa. You don't eat. And then, what else? You sit and meditate. You sit and chant the mantra. It's very conducive for that. So this is how the life is led, until which time that the things drop off on their own. Both the desires, the desirable things, the desires and the penchant to keep doing drops off on its own, slowly. Things drop away. You wait for that. And if you desire to drop it earlier than that, immediately drop everything the day you feel like dropping it. Don't wait until tomorrow. Why not wait till tomorrow? Tomorrow never comes. Simple. Tomorrow never comes. Shopkeepers in India have a sign. Cash today, credit tomorrow. And then if you go the next day, tomorrow they will give credit. Go the next day, buy your groceries and say, yesterday I came and then you said credit tomorrow. He will just simply show you the sign. And same thing for Vairagya. Tomorrow never comes. If you feel like dropping something, if you feel like giving something away, if you feel like not having something, if you feel like, deepening the commitment to the study and making more time for the study, the time is now. If you don't even wait to say, let me think about this, because you won't. Yeah, and the reasons are also given here. Let me mull on this. There's nothing to mull. Yeah, the thoughts are not apple cider, It's the only thing that requires mulling. You don't want the brain to turn into apple cider, cinnamony and gooey and warm. You don't want that. So therefore what? You cannot put off. When the desire comes, it is called Shubha Ichcha. The desire to give up is Shubha Ichcha. To give up, to give away, to, what is that? Downsize. To downsize, to test one's resolve by letting go of more than what one thinks one can, is all a precursor to growth, is all a sign of growth. So it's a Shubha Ichcha. And then it should be acted upon immediately. You cannot say, let me think over this. You won't. Let me sleep on this. Sleep also, won't come. Let me get up tomorrow is a good day to, let me look at the muhurta. Let me look at the auspicious time for giving up. What is the auspicious time for giving up? Now. Now is the auspicious time for deepening the resolve. Now is the auspicious time for giving up. Because if you don't do it now, the chances are more than plenty that you will not do it at all. That's why there is a Vedic statement, and what is that? Yad aharam vrajet, tad aharam eva pravrajet. The day the desire comes to let go, to give up everything, to walk away from all the prayers that binds, that preys upon me. First you prey upon prayers, and then it preys upon you. Not praise, P-R-E-Y-S. It enslaves you. So the day the desire comes that I'm really going to commit to this come what may, that is the day you act. Tad aharam eva. Tad ahare. Pravrajet. Pravrajet. Vrajet means let go. Pravrajet. Let go forcefully. Right then. Yeah. This is what it is. And then, so describing all this, now the Bhashya is going to be easy because we've had this introduction. So let us continue. Te yadyapi ekaika purushartha sambandhini vidya avidya rupatvat viruddhe iti anyatara aparityagena ekena purushena saha anushtatum ashakyatvat. Te means what? Shreya and Preyah, both of them, because both are neuter. Tat te tani, te, dual, not sahatau te, not plural, dual. Yeah, because there are two. Te yadyapi. Yadyapi means although. Although what? They both. Although they both. Eka purushartha sambandhini. Eka purushartha sambandhini means eka, discreetly, one is to one, discreetly sambandhini, related, discreetly related to the purusharthas, means to the goals, human goals, to the two human goals. What are the two human goals? First is arthakama, prayers, and then moksha, shreyas. We have talked about this, quite a bit. So even though they are discreetly related, discreetly means not secretively, but discrete as in separately related. They are not related to each other, but each one is related or tied to a specific goal that this human being or any human being finds alluring. So one person says, I find moksha alluring, I'm going to go for that. This is the person who is called Shreyorthi. Shreyaha arthayati, the one who asks for, prarthayati, desires, goes after, finds meaning in Shreyas, Shreyorthi. The other one says, no, I think I'm going to just wander around here in this maze of prayers and get lost. That is called Prayorthi. Because I'll get some accolades, I'll get name, I'll get fame, I'll get recognized, I'll get bouquets, followed by the bats of the bricks, but we are not talking of that. Let's only focus on nice things. So therefore I am going to go in for this. And the one who says, so therefore each purushartha is linked with one of these options. Moksha is linked separately to Shreyas, to the pursuit of Shreyas. Arthakama are linked separately to Preyas. So, ekaika purushartha sambandhini, although they have each one has their trajectory and what they lead to, or what they promise to lead to rather, then what? even though they have their goals, they have their roads, they have their billboards advertising what they are, where they are going to go, and they have their GPS, what to do, how to be, where to take a left turn, and the GPS for Shreyas only keeps talking of U-turns, and there's no way to turn other than you. That's why it's called U-turn. You are the turner, you are the turned, U-turn. So that's all. The GPS of Shreyas is very peculiar because it only talks of U-turn. And the GPS of Preyas, what does it do? It puts you in a maze. Left, right, center, left, no, right, here. Go into this little cul-de-sac. But why? Dead end, Dead end number 1, dead end number 2, and then dead end number 3 is the pursuer. Dead end, jaded, faded, and deadened to any more hope, This is what the whole thing is. So even though Ekaika Purushartha Sambandhini, even though they are discreetly related to each of their goals that they tout and advertise, then what happens? With regard to each other, there is no relationship. Yeah. Each one is related to its goal that it touts. But they are not interrelated, meaning that you cannot go to one and then ask for the way to go to the other. It is not possible. They will not even look at each other. Why? Because they cannot coexist in the same place. One represents self-knowledge called Vidya, Atma Vidya. What is that? Prayas, correct? No. Shreyas represents Atma Vidya and the other one represents Avidya, ignorance. One represents self-knowledge, which is the highest goal, gaining which one gains, as it were, all the small, chota desires, every bada desires, big desires, small desires, everything is included in this choice. And the other one is discrete little attempts to resuscitate this sinking jiva, glub, 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 CPR, code, blue, and then glub, glub, glub again. This is the prayas. So now, these two are not interrelated to each other. In fact, they don't even look at each other. Like there is one Paninian Sutra, which comes in the 8th book, which is called Purvatra Asiddham, meaning whatever I have talked about will not apply to, to this, the set of rules that I am talking right now. In fact, everything that you spent so much time learning, stop, drop, because none of the sandhis, none of the affixes, suffixes, rules, and the dropping of the nasal, whatever you have learned, just let go, because these, I think there are about 40 sutras or something like that come under this umbrella, and they are exempt from all the rules. This is how it is. And so, in fact, those sutras will not look at the other rules. Like Shreyas and Prayas, they are like ships passing in the night. They don't acknowledge each other. They don't look at each other. Prayas says, Shreyas, you don't even exist. It's all about me. Look at me. I am the thrill. And look at all the people that are following me. Who are you? Contentment, I give that. Yeah, but you are time bound. Who cares about time? How long does a person live? I'll crowd their life with contentment. Who are you? You don't exist. So Prayas does not acknowledge that the existence of Shreyas. Just like certain countries, America does not acknowledge that they exist, like Cuba. It's not even there on the map. Yeah. America does not recognize. And until recently, I think you couldn't even go there. So, this is because you can't go there because it doesn't exist for us. Same thing. So, once you're in Prayas, Shreyas doesn't exist. So, from the standpoint of Prayas looks around, where is Shreyas? Come on. In fact, it's sitting on the shoulder of Shreyas to look around. That's why it cannot even see Shreyas. And Shreyas says, what Prayas? I'm the only choice. Don't you know that this is the shadow? And you are following the shadow, you shady creature. I told you to take refuge in me. I have been teaching from one Upanishad to another. And oh ye Jiva, oh ye Piva, what are you doing? Full of peeves, full of no cheer, this cheerless, jaded, faded Jiva. How many lives do you need to have to understand that I am the only choice? What is Preyas? Is it here? No. And when Shreyas comes, Preyas crawls under the couch like a terrified cockroach when the light shines. All these insects that people are terrified of, that they are in fact more terrified of the people. And most of the, bugs for some reason are photosensitive. They come out when in the dark. They're having a party, bug party. They're clinking the glasses and having a good time. And then suddenly the homeowner comes home. Oh, one of them is watching out with a small pair of binoculars. Oh, here they come. Now they'll look out, bug is there. Yes. And then, why not small binoculars? If praying mantises can be fit with glasses, by small binoculars it just says, oh, here they come, I see a big pair of feet. That's all it can see. It's at the level of the foot. Oh, what is that? It's a huge thing coming. Oh, it's just a big toe. Okay, And then it calls, everybody, this horrible light is going to be turned on in any second. And as soon as it says second, it doesn't even finish the sentence. The light is flipped on. The person has noisily opened the house door and then steps in. And then they don't want to be stepped on. And what do? For fear of survival, they just go. They are nowhere to be found. Yeah. Even pest control cannot find them. They have to trap in other ways. Yeah. That's why there is all these things, horrible things called fly paper. What is fly paper? A sticky paper. You put that and all the flies come and stick to it. Some coated with some madhu, honey. And all these things they have to do because they cannot locate them. They cannot locate them and escort them out because they are refusing to be escorted out. They just go crawl under something. So, Shreyas is the bright light of Viveka, under which there is no Preyas. What happened to Preyas? Gone. Gone. And when the Preyas starts to party, it dances, it sings, it does not see Shreyas. When avidya is there, and avidya, it cannot exist along with vidya. You cannot say little helping of avidya to be healthy, little helping of vidya, a little bit of moksha, little bit of prayers. Together we'll have a nice little buffet. Cha-cha-cha, little bit with prayers. Cha-cha-cha, moksha. Cha-cha-cha means and. So I want this and this and this. Cha-cha-cha and this. No. Upanishad says the end. If you keep saying and. No, there is no end to and. The end is right now recognizing that day and night cannot coexist side by side. Can they coexist side by side? Come on, be a little accommodated. No, but what about the twilight zone? Yeah, we are not talking about twilight zone. Yeah, twilight zone is for the fence sitters. We have already discussed and dispensed with all of them. Fence sitter is always on the defense. That's why it's called the fence. Yeah. Defense and offense. That's all is defensive and offensive. That's all it is. That's why the word fence comes in both those words. So, we are not talking of the fence sitters. Don't go into the twilight zone and Brahma Vela, just before dawn. All those are just, spoofs. Can day and night coexist? When the sun comes out, can the night offer him a cup of tea? No. Oh, I thought everyone welcomes you. I will also welcome you. Here is the chai, nightly chai I made. No. And neither can the sun say, let me just welcome you. The two are not able to coexist even for a second. In fact, where is night? Huh? Don't say right now she is in India, you know. But where is this night? What is night? What is darkness? What is avidya? What is it? Does it have an existence to be even counted? Where does it exist? No, I don't have self-knowledge, so I have avidya. You know, this is the newly minted, what is there? Student. I have avidya. Who told you? No, I myself know. Ah, what do you know? That I don't know. Ah. What reigns? I know or I don't know which reigns? I know. But I know is it's all vidya. Where is avidya? It's an imposter, it's an interloper, it's a masquerader. Vidya is just that which, you know, which removes the face of avidya, face off. That's all. Removes the face, takes off the mask, and then all there is removes the ignorance. The ignorance can be removed because it is not an entity like the truth of oneself, which is disseminated by self-knowledge. Self-knowledge, the subject matter, the agent, and the person who is imbibing the self-knowledge being one and the same. So self-knowledge stands for you. Avidya is the imposter that has to be ousted. Shoo, you have to say. Yeah. Go away. So really speaking, now we are understanding why this is only one choice. Because even though they tout variously defined goals to which they are related to, the two are never not only interrelated, the two don't even look at each other, because the one is non-existent. Which is the one that is non-existent? Prayas. That which is described as avidya, that which is exemplified by avidya. That's why you don't get confused here. We are talking of Shreyas and Prayas. Prayas, which is qualified by the term avidya, because it's only the ignorant who choose Prayas over Shreyas. So then the Prayas, that's why it says Vidya, Avidya, Rupe. So the two which are qualified by or characterized by avidya. So the Prayas which is characterized by avidya doesn't have a leg to stand on, is a non-existent choice. And when you go for the non-existent and crown non-existent as existent, then the existent one becomes blurry to you, becomes a source of what? You cannot even see it because you're mired in the non-existent. If one is mired in darkness, one does not, welcome the light. This is what it is. So avidya is not absence of light. Avidya is not absence of knowledge. It is opposed, the two conscious, the two awarenesses. What is the two awarenesses? One is the consciousness, awareness, and the other one is what? The not knowing of the self. And therefore the distorted sense of the I. These two are opposed to one another. Totally opposed. They are not, knowledge is not the, buttressing lack of knowledge. It's not lack of knowledge. Darkness is not absence of light. Ignorance is not lack of knowledge. It is the opposite of knowledge. In other words, wherever knowledge is, ignorance is banished, does not have a leg to stand on. And wherever ignorance is, knowledge is not easily found. It's not there. It's not found, period. The two are opposed to each other. And one of them, which is characterized by avidya, this Prayas characterized by avidya, has the capacity to reign, at best an impermanent reign. Its tenure is marked because as soon as the light of knowledge dawns, avidya and preyas both go away as a possibility, as a choice. So therefore he talks about this very well. He says that the two, even though they have certain goals to which each of them are discretely related, they are not connected to one another in any way. In fact, the one does not recognize the existence of the other. And not only that, since each of them are characterized respectively, Shreyas by Vidya and Preyas by Avidya, Rupatvat, because they take on these particular respective forms, Viruddhe. Viruddhe means they are opposed to one another. The existence of one denies the existence of other, and therefore iti anyatara parityagena aparityagena ekena purushena saha anushtatum ashakyam. It is not possible because they are opposed to one another, because the one, when one is reigning, the other one is not to be found. It is impossible for both of them to be followed, to be pursued, anushtiyamanam, to be pursued by a single jiva. One Purusha cannot pursue the two of them simultaneously or concurrently. Anyhow, you cannot do that. Ekena aparityagena, anyat aparityagena, without giving up one. Aparityaga, without giving up. Without giving up one, you cannot pursue. It is not possible for the person to pursue both. So in other words, you have to give up one and choose the other. You cannot pursue the two, and we have seen this in detail. So we can go further. So saha anushtanam ashakyatvat, it is not capable. Na shaknoti purushaha, the person is incapable of pursuing both. So by understanding one as standing for this becomes very clear why. Why is it the person incapable of pursuing both? By understanding two things which are connected to one another. By understanding that the one stands for self-contentment and the other stands for just the multiplication of discontent. The one stands for knowledge. In other words, Shreyas, and Preyas stands for what? Avidya. So you have to look at what the corresponding thing. So one stands for self-contentment, the other stands for discontent. So what is symbolized by self-contentment is self-knowledge, the other stands for ignorance. What kind of ignorance? Self-ignorance. So self-ignorance and self-knowledge, contentment and discontent and contentment cannot coexist at the same time and cannot be chosen simultaneously by the single pursuer, by the single person, because the existence of one denies the other. And in fact, the existence of contentment, which is characterized by self-knowledge, makes the other one non-existent, does not even exist. Why? Because what is, even while choosing the other one, the immediate contentment, prayers, what is one wanting? Contentment. That is why it's not an option. There's only one option. So he says it is not really, there are no two options. You have to give up one, and we pray that you give up the right one. He's going to say that, with great grace, one gives up the wrong one, So, further, tayoho hitva avidyarupam preyah shreyah eva kevalam Adadanasya
Adadanasya
Upadanam kurvatah
Upadanam kurvatah
Sadhu
Sadhu
Shobhanam Shivam Bhavati.
Shobhanam Shivam Bhavati.
Yeah, so here Tayoho, of the two, Hitva, giving up one. Oh, I can give up anyone, he's giving me a choice. No. Avidya Rupam Preyaha Hitva. Having given up, he's giving you a primer, the ABC. It's the kindergarten of Vedanta. He's taking you, leading you very nicely. It's the first day of school, Vedanta school. And so he's saying, have tayoho, out of the two, hitva, giving up, ha, to abandon, hitva, having given up, what? Preyaha. Why everyone is after preyaha to give it up? Avidya rupam tat. Because it is characterized by what? Self-ignorance, which is a bad idea. And it is characterized by self-ignorance. And what's wrong with self-ignorance? Self-ignorance makes me go for the immediate contentment, which is always outside of oneself, which is always sought outside of oneself, when the problem really is centered on I, and the solution also rests on the I. This is the problem with prayers. It is outward bound. It is outward and you are bound. And so therefore, Hitva, having given up, and then he spells it out. Because if there are only two and Preyas is given up, what do you have to choose? Shreyas. But he does not take any chances. He says, Shreyaha eva, only Shreyas, Kevalam, only. Eva and Kevalam, he doesn't have to say that, but he puts it, he emphasizes it. And if he were writing on a computer today, Adi Shankara, he would underline, bold and italics all at the same time. This is what Shreyaha eva kevalam. Kevalam means only. Eva, indeed, only. Shreyas. Cho adadanasya purushasya. Adadanasya means the one who has accepted. We saw this word also in the Mundaka. The havis gets accepted, the one who offers the havis, adadanaha. We saw that the accepted havis, spirals, into punya, and then is caught by the sun rays, sunbeams. Yeah. And then punya beams upon you. We saw that there. Now here, same word, adadanasya, the one who has invited, accepted, da to give, ada to receive. The one who has accepted what? Shreyas only, not along with prayers. That's why he wants you to give up prayers. When? Now. Yeah. So, adadanasya upadanam kurvatah. Upadanam kurvatah means the one who has accepted. Svi kurvatah. So the one who has accepted Shreyas for such a person. Tasya, asya purushasya sadhu bhavati. Sadhu doesn't mean sadhuhu. Sadhu is an indeclinable, which means auspiciousness befalls the person who makes the correct choice and sees the spoof of the wrong choice masquerading as the right one. And then what? This is the good news. Shobhanam. Shobhanam means it also looks very nice. Yeah. Like a piece of art in a right place. You have. Sometimes less is more. You have to learn this from the Japanese people. You should see how they decorate a room. Mostly it's left empty. Yeah. And even the flower arrangements, they focus on what is called the negative space. That doesn't mean they're negative about it, The negative space, that is it's really beautiful. And it's very meaningful in terms of, this discussion on Shreyas. So the negative space is very, like you look at the flower arrangement. Like when I went to Japan, they had beautiful flower arrangements. Really, you have to learn from them. You know, one twig, and then, you know, one another, some. The twig is all over the place. And another just this way bending flower. In the middle, nothing. And then a smaller leaf also bending this side. That's it. Right in the middle somewhere. You know, just put against a certain kind of a color wall which the backdrop enhances what is in front of it. And the twig is not doing anything. You know, and neither is this little leaf which is, you know, coming this side. And maybe the flower is the centerpiece, we don't know. Maybe that also is not great if you look at it by itself. It's fine. Just an ordinary flower. A twig that somebody just, the look is that it casually picked it up from the backyard and then just stuck it there. But what really attracts are the spaces in between. That's why the meditation. What attracts is the space in between one chant and the other chant. You recognize that space. While chanting, one is spaced out, but in between the chants, one recognizes the holy sanctity of that space. What is that space? You, that consciousness, the awarer, the one who is aware of this awareness, that person. And in fact, the awareness just is, because the one who is aware is busy chanting, and then the space is just that laya, that place of absorption where all there is that consciousness which is Ishvara alone. And that is why it is all based, the flower arrangement, etc., is all based on this Confucius, the influence, the Eastern influence of great teachers like Confucius and, the whole Tao and everything, even Shinto, all these ancient religions, they had this understanding. We are very blessed because we have what is alive is the teaching tradition to communicate this, whereas the teaching tradition, if you find in a lot of indigenous traditions, is lost. All that is there is just the artifacts and the hints of it, like in the flower arranging. But in this flower arranging, that is what you see. That negative space is space to contemplate, is space to look at yourself. You don't crowd the whole ways, you jam it with flowers and, everything. And then that's not, more is not more. Less is more. Less is everything. Less is most. If you talk of Shreya, superlative. Less is most. And this is what is being talked about here. This is what it is very beautiful. So, tayoho shreyah adadanasya sadhu bhavati. And what is this sadhu? Not just auspiciousness. It is a thing of beauty. Shobhanam. That is what Adi Shankara is amazing. Shobhanam bhavati. It is an ornamentation. It's the only ornamentation. And what is this ornamentation? Your mentation of the correct choices is the only ornamentation. Your ability to mentate, your ability to choose the correct thing, that's the only ornamentation. In fact, discarding all ornaments, all the prayers is all the various ornaments. You discard that. The person giving up everything discards everything. And then in that discarding is a beauty, which is the absence of clutter. The absence of what kind of clutter? Not just of things, but cluttered priorities. Yeah. In the closet of the heart. And when somebody is coming, you push everything into the closet and close the door. And after you leave, you forgot that you did that. And then you open it and all the priorities fall down and overwhelm and stun the person. Yes. All kinds of things. So like that, here it is Shobhanam, because there's something beautiful about that single flower, which is that consciousness which is finally being allowed to bloom That Atma Vidya is being allowed to bloom in my awareness as myself. I am flowering. Nothing more is needed. That's why when you go to the garden, the flowers are enough. One flower is enough. It doesn't say, let me put on some earrings, let me put on some lipstick, let me put on some makeup. No, it is enough. How it is enough. So this self is which needs no embellishment is Shobhanam. When you choose that, that becomes your greatest embellishment. Sadhu Bhavati, it is auspicious because, not just auspicious because it looks nice also, it's the best embellishment with which you can endow yourself. You don't need any more embellishments. Like that minimalistic arrangement. This is what it is. So Shreyorthi, the person after Shreyas, is by definition a minimalist. Minimalist, means what? Minimalist doesn't mean that you don't have things. You can own many things, you don't possess anything. There is a difference between owning and possession. That's why the sannyasis in the Hindu tradition, in the Vedic tradition, we don't take vows of poverty. Never. Poverty, I'll not own this. And then what, then that's why in the Catholic tradition, the nuns, they work, all of them work. They work so hard. They are professors in the Bible colleges. They are, engineers. They are doctors. They work so hard and they serve humanity. And all their salary goes to the Vatican. The nuns may do that. We won't have none of it. Yeah, we will not have none of it. We won't have any of that. Why? Because this is not about the question of ownership. Owning means what? All right, here it belongs to me, let it remain. Okay. I don't possess it. I own this body. One owns this body. You cannot say, oh, let the neighbor take care of it. That's terrible. Highly irresponsible. And you don't want that because the neighbor may forget to feed it. What are you going to do? You have to take care of the body. You are the one who manages this body. You know where it is aching. You know where it is paining. You know what needs to be done. You know what to not eat. You know what to put in it. You know what to eat. So you have to take care of this body without feeling possessed by it and without possessing it. So this is what is that is why it says, that is what is the Shreyorthi is a minimalist. Minimalist not in the sense of doesn't have things, but does not possess anything. That is what it is. Owning without possession. Owning is just a relationship. Whether we are talking of things or people. That's what it is. It's a minimalist engagement with things that I call my own. That's what it is. And so, sadhu bhavati, tasya shobhanam bhavati. Also, shobhana means not just an embellishment, but shobhana means something which is highly sought after. Shobhana, which is very, very highly sought after. So, even though people don't know this, Shreyas is highly sought after. So, such a person will, befall auspicious times. Auspicious time will befall such a person. What is the auspicious time? Timelessness will befall such a person. And so, this is what is said. So, Shobhanam bhavati. Bhavati means only good things will come. And this is true. Even if one is afraid to choose Shreyas and with great fear, what will happen to my children? What will happen to my job? What will happen to this? What will happen to that? Even that scared person choosing Shreyas, things are taken care of. Yeah. You want something, it comes. And when you don't want also, it comes. Yeah. You're supposed to have something, it comes. Oh, what will I do with the children? Children will be taken care of. It will happen. It happens. What we don't do, we don't allow things to happen because there is a mechanism in the universe. This is Bhagavan's making, and Bhagavan has put this desire for contentment, signified by self-vidya, self-knowledge, in the form of Shreyas. One is really a Shreyas hunter, and one is given the free will to pursue Shreyas. And when the free will aligns with what it is supposed to pursue, everything falls in alignment. Has to. That is the way of the world. It is a law. It is a law. But if one is afraid and doesn't put the foot forward, nothing can be done. Because that free will has to be harnessed to this, the most exalted pursuit for which the human body, mind, sense complex, this incarnation was given. So that this particular granthi of ignorance could be Hridaya granthi, the knot of the heart could be resolved. And if one makes use of that opportunity, all things fall in place. Really. You don't have to worry, how will I eat, how will I live, what will I do? You don't have to worry. Yeah, you can say that. I can say that. Because it is tested, not by me, who am I? It is tested by the greatest saints in the tradition. The stalwarts of all lineages have known this, have seen this, have lived this reality. And that is the secret to greatness, is choosing Shreyas. That's why it is Shobhana, the most sought after. And then Sadhu Bhavati, good news. Okay, good news is followed by what?
Not so good news.
Bad news. Okay, what is and so bad news is what? Yastu Aduradarshi Vimudha Hiyate Viyujyate Asmad Arthat Purusharthat Paramarthikat Prayojanat Nityat Prachyavate Ityarthah. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya
Purnamevavashishyate.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.